All right, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of team building. This is the micro learning project, a virtual learning project where we are excited about your opportunity to learn, to connect, rediscover new skills, and to find ways to learn more and do more and be more advanced in your leadership. So today in day 2, we're going to focus on team effectiveness. And as always, team stands for together, everyone achieves more. So let us begin. You might be familiar with a lot of personality exercises. You can talk about Myers-Briggs. There's one called Belbin's Teams Roles and DISC. Today, we're just going to do one on team character. And I'm going to walk through the 5 of these. And what I'd ask you to do is take a few moments to just take some notes about which one do you think best actually represents you. And then maybe even take a note about which one represents 1 or 2 of the people on your team. And then we're going to do a Menti survey after I walk through this, so I have some idea about each and every one of you and where you stand in this chart of characteristics. So there are 5 under each of these team characteristics. And the first one is, are you a creative spark? Are you the person on the team who is innovative, creative, optimistic? You're always thinking outside the box, always new ideas, new opportunities. Do you happen to be the member on your team who's the productive dynamo? You're the one focused on getting things done. It's always about what we can accomplish, what can be done that moves the team forward, always pushing and driving to excellence. And then here is the actual team driver. But this team driver is focused on being organized, task focused, more of the facilitator of the tasks that are getting done. And their role is to facilitate the team getting to their goals and objectives and always moving things forward. And then we have the intellectual powerhouse. This is the person on the team who is analytical. They are the problem solver. They're always looking for solutions. Their MO is to always figure out what they can do to help the team get past the problem and to be more successful. And then again, keep the team actually moving forward. The next category is actually Maven influence. These are the people who are what we consider to be our major influencers. They use all their networks. They're very persuasive. They believe in building relationships. They're all focused on how those relationships can connect them to getting things accomplished, how it can connect them to resolving issues, how it can help move the team to the next level by giving them both the exposure and the opportunity to move forward. So I'm gonna give you a few minutes to just kind of look at all of those. And as I said, also to consider maybe 1 or 2 people on your team who may also fit in some of these categories. And today I'm going to try to be a marvel here at Zoom and bring up the Menti survey, because I want you to take out your phones, and then you're going to share with us what characteristic best describes you based on what descriptions I provided and what you see on your screen. So give me a second here, and I'm going to try to flip over to that screen. Okay, as I said, here are the categories. And again, we have creative spark, productive dynamo, a driver, the intellectual powerhouse, and the Maven influencer. And the code is 154995. So I'm going to give you a second here, and if you all would take the time, please vote and let us know who you are on this screen. Okay, we got productive dynamo showing up. We got some intellectual powerhouses. Okay, some creative sparks. Right, just a few more seconds. Okay. Hopefully we'll get one or two more of you able to get in there to vote. Very nice. Very nice. So we're fortunate we have some creative sparks, some productive dynamos, and some intellectual powerhouses in here. Very, very good. And as I said, I'd be curious, hopefully you can just take the notes and you'll let us know. We'll come back and figure out who on your team is actually similar to that. So I'm gonna go back to that screen. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Hello, Menti Test. So the wonderful thing about knowing what you are in terms of those categories is to every side of every personality test, there is the other side, which talks about some of those challenges or those areas that are challenging to each of these personality types. And so I just want to walk through them and get to share with you so you get that kind of perspective. So if you happen to be the person who signed up in that survey and you are the creative spark, the thing you need to know about creative sparks is on our teams is that they need to be stimulated. They get bored easy, sometimes not always focused, and they like to move on to the next project. Again, none of these intended to be negative, but just to be aware if you work with people who fit these categories. In their productive dynamo, they love to be challenged. And if their workload is not managed perfectly, it's challenging to them. So you need to manage their workload. They tend not to ask a lot of questions, and they may not always challenge the work. And therefore they end up just driving through the work without really having a lot of thought around those tasks. Team drivers, they are more focused on the process and sometimes may actually miss the bigger picture. Really important that they understand what that bigger picture is. And they're sometimes less tolerant of those who work differently than them. The intellectual powerhouse actually can be a little chaotic or seem to be for people. Sometimes more quick to judge others in their work and their ideas, and sometimes may be pessimistic. So really important that they, that you're aware of kind of what's driving them in terms of their ability to get work done. And then the maven influencers, they kind of march to the beat of their own drum. They don't like to adhere to processes. And sometimes they have a lot of ideas, and those ideas may not seem practical to the team. So what I want to do is just share with you some recommendations that will help you as you begin to work with those team members. And consider, again, I asked you to vote for yourself, but also to consider other members of your team. And so if you're working with other members, here are some ideas that will help you kind of bridge that gap. And the other thing I really want to stress with you right now is all of us, of course, as team members have strengths and weaknesses. And so it's really important that instead of spending time on personality and style, we spend more time looking at people's skill set. And you have to wonder sometimes, is some of our conflict that keeps us from being effective, is it more about a style? Does it happen to be more about being an intellectual powerhouse compared to a team driver? And so the styles are actually coming in conflict. And if you think about it from a style standpoint, you think about what you learned from Rose and Dare to Lead. How are you leading through that? What discussions are you having? You think about the emotional intelligence and the awareness that Ashley talked about, and how are you processing that? And what questions should you ask? And you think about healthy dialogue and what Kate shared with you. Now, how do you have the conversation so it doesn't become about personality and it doesn't get stuck in you don't like me and I don't like you? It becomes more about our styles. And that allows a team to have a very different conversation to help all of them be more effective and to keep the team camaraderie. So the creative spark people, find a way to challenge their creativity, to the benefit of the team. Give them recognition for what they do well in terms of being creative, and then how can you actually stretch them? Again, all in support of being an effective team. Consider the productive dynamo. Someone on the team is really good and organized, and they're driving the production. Find ways to partner people to help them become more organized and more focused. Send them to class. Think about the team driver. they need to really understand how to value a team member and to really connect with the vision and the goal. And this is extremely important because everybody needs to be clear about vision and goal. And so how do you connect that to the goal, and they're tied to the relationship of the team? The next thing is the intellectual powerhouse. Interestingly enough, because they're always thinking, they're always stretching, and it's kind of about goal more than anything else, how do you bring them back to see the value in team members? And so the thought is to pair them again with people who do see it, and then how to stretch them. And then our Maven influencers, when you think about them, it's making sure that they are actually clear about the team and who the team is, as well as keeping them focused on the goal. One of the other things that's extremely important to consider is, does the team understand the team goals? If you were to ask everybody, and I feel this is a suggestion, ask everybody what are the goals of the team and have them write it down. Don't say it out loud. And if everybody on the team gives you the same answer, then you know you have clarity. And that way you know you can be effective. But if you get varying answers, even the baseline of how you're working needs to be assessed. And so it's really important that everybody is clear about their goals and then also clear about the goals of the team. So when we talk about the effectiveness of a team, I took about 7 of these to literally focus on with you today. And so I'm going to walk through these just so that you have some understanding of what those 7 actually are and why they're so very important. So the first one, of course, is understand both the team and individual performance and what to expect. There's an old saying, you should inspect what you expect. And so when you think about the individual team member, think about the relationship that you have with your team members. Think about the culture, as I talked about yesterday. Do we have a culture where we can give constructive feedback, where we can receive it? Think about the overall performance goals. What are those goals? And do we as team members know what each other's goals and priorities are? And so therefore we know what to expect and we know how to help our team members actually move forward. The next one on solid and deep trust in the team's purpose and the ability to express feelings and ideas. This is a team that can actually have a conversation where they can disagree, where they can support each other, where they can express their real feelings. I'm tired, I'm worn out, this project is too long, this is difficult, I need help, I'm struggling. All of these things are really important because what that says is that I trust you enough as my team member that you'll walk me through and support me. Is everyone working toward the same goal? Again, it goes back to what I said a little earlier. Do we all know what the goal is and what is expected of us? And it seems like such a small point, but trust me, if you try that task and you get different answers, you know the team needs to start at the beginning. The next one, really important, is the person carrying their own weight. And do they respect the team and the processes? And one of the things I would encourage you to do is take a few moments and ask everybody on the team, what's their definition of respect? Because interestingly enough, not everybody defines it the same way. And I teach a class on generations, and it's even interesting, respect is defined differently across different generations as well. So what does it mean to demonstrate respect on your team? And then what are the processes that the team actually has? The next one is extensive discussion. Everyone gets a chance to contribute, even introverts. Really important if you think about your team meetings or sessions. We've all been in meetings, there's 10 people in the room and you're lucky it's the same 6 people talking, and so you miss 4 voices. Well, an effective team does not allow people not to contribute. Even if someone has to say, I agree, you must do it. This is important, one, for introverts. It's also important when we think about areas of diversity for women and people of color who may not feel comfortable enough to always speak up, or someone's been cutting them off. So one of your team norms or your team goals ought to be around how do you invite everyone in, and that's an expectation. The other thing about no individual is more important than the team. The one thing I would share with you that's really critical is when someone joins your team, what exactly do they know about your team? We usually give people tasks and assignments, But we don't say, hey, joining my team, this is how our team functions. This is how our team operates. This is what our team does. And so I know I'm not just joining a work task, I'm joining a group of individuals who have these values with these expectations and these roles. The next thing is disagreement is viewed as a good thing, which goes to the earlier conversation. If you don't have conflict and it's not managed well, you're not moving forward. So one of the most important things of a highly effective team is that you can do this one well and still be successful, still move forward, and still get your job done. And the ultimate goal of all of these is that as you think about what makes you a highly effective team, is all around how you value the individual. And here it is about sharing your values, and that solidifies culture and relationship. It's also about celebrating team growth, and then again, requesting that feedback to make a difference across your team. And so we encourage you to look at how your team functions and how it moves forward, and establish what it means to be a team and what effectiveness looks like for you. I happen to love this quote because I think it speaks to both value, relationship, and goal. It says, I invite everyone to choose forgiveness rather than division, and teamwork over personal ambition. And so really critical that we move forward in making sure that we connect and we focus on building those skills. Boy, time surely goes fast. I want to thank you. Our goal today was to talk about different personality types, to talk about dysfunctions of teams, and to talk about just the importance of valuing each of our team members, their style over personality, and the opportunity to redefine what it means to be an effective team. So on behalf of the Micro Learning Development Project, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so glad that you were here. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we talk about the dysfunctions of a team. Thank you and have a good day.